So, how do you like your off-season? Highly unstable or mildly non-livable? During the last year and a half, people fell in love with PSG Talon and Beyond Gaming runs at Worlds and MSI. They rejoiced after Dogo moved to Bilibili Gaming. Some of them were intrigued about River going to NA or curious about that Jimian guy now playing for 100 Thieves. If you're not familiar with PCS and were maybe a bit worried during the European off-season, well, you didn't see fucking shit. PCS entered 2022 with 4 blank slots and 2 teams expected to play a promotion tournament that actually never happened. If you go on any wiki and look up for teams, you'll only find 4 arcs coming from 2021: PSG Talent, Beyond Gaming, J-Team, and Impunity. Until mid-January, nobody had any clue about what was going on, and even after LoL announcement, we were not sure about all 6 new teams, since Frankie Sports didn't have any logo. What is going on? Well, it's not something that can easily be tracked down. Of course, there are many different topics to deal with, and this is not to be intended as a full dive in about a league I'm relatively new to, with issues I can't truly grasp, both because there's something I don't know or I just don't live every day. But I asked a little bit to the beautiful people in PCS Discord, join it, with some of them coming directly from Southeast Asia and having lived directly the evolution of local League of Legends from CEA and LMS coming to PCS. I collected their experiences, I made up my mind about some of the topics, and I think it can be truly interesting for every league fan to understand what's going on in the fifth world region. Sorry Vietnam, but no sorry. And why it's suffering the way it is. First of all, PCS is a fusion. You may think this is not important, but actually it is. It truly is. Riot merged CEA and LMS, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Macau in 2020 to create a broader competitive region because LMS was slowly dying and GPL was just a much weaker stage. Without jumping to any political conclusion, players from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Macau are, of course, eligible to play in LPL. So naturally, LMS suffered a constant talent hemorrhage, with the best players going to China, while GPL simply couldn't afford a stable ecosystem with many infrastructural issues and, generally speaking, a weaker player pool, especially after Vietnam got their own international slot and considering that not everyone from CEA can have free access to better servers like Korea and China, while pro players basically only play there. And the format was a big problem too. GPL was a super league with national qualifiers and only one team from each nation going to the final event. Only 5 players from 5 nations. Many players were trying to find their way to the league, but I can easily see how the grind was just not sustainable in such regions. Remember that the entire Beyond Gaming roster was paid around $20,000 from AHQ Fighters in 2021 spring, and they went to World. Yeah, not a lot. PCS was supposed to become a real super region. It started in 2020 with 4 teams from Taiwan and 2 from Hong Kong, while the remaining 4 coming from Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore. Only 1 team from CA Nations 2, but with a guaranteed yearly slot, with a nation-exclusive qualifier if your team got relegated, and of course the chance to go to Worlds or MSI and to confront yourself with an higher level of opponents. 2021 opened with a qualifier between Singapore, Malaysia, and Philippines team, and closed with the intriguing perspective of a Taiwanese team being relegated in Alpha Esports. How will Riot deal with this? Maybe a regional qualifier, taking away a slot from Taiwan and opening to other nations? Well, they didn't have to because those slots disappeared, and so new teams just came in. The problem is Beyond Gaming got into the league. PSG and Talon had their partnership, and they pretty much set the bar to a new and insanely high level. Realistically speaking, no other team can compete with PSG Talon as far as I know, financially wise. And Beyond Gaming is a solid second place, but who else? I expected much more from Machi and HKA, but yep, they're gone now. Maybe I was wrong. They sold and left. Going into 2022, now we still have 2 Hong Kong slots, but 6 from Taiwan, with only 2 teams from Southeast Asia, being Impunity from Singapore and Sem9 from Malaysia. Teams from other regions just opted to invest in other games, with Liab from Philippines being the biggest example, having moved their whole league roster to Wild Rift. And it's not like fans didn't care, but mobile gaming is actually pretty big in Southeast Asia, with smartphones costing significantly less compared to PCs, especially now with the global chip storage. We're not talking about chilly, nerdy, you middle-class kids. This is something that is really important to keep in mind. Everyone in CEA plays with their mobile phones because not everyone can afford a PC. And as I say, fan base is not an issue. There are many League fans in Southeast Asia. My exposure with Filipinos has been truly impressive and amazing. And they just won't have a representative this whole year. And it really feels like, in some way, this PCS planning has always been a recipe for disaster. How can Riot fix this without messing too much with teams like PSG Talon, Beyond Gaming, and now, of course, CTBC Flying Oyster, literally their main PCS sponsor, having a team in the league? This is really tough to say, but going back to the Super League concept, like in the GPL times, could be the way to go. PCS starts really late compared to other major regions after Lunar New Year, and to be honest, an earlier start could help this idea. Starting in mid to early January with national leagues, have some playoffs to qualify, I don't know, 3 teams from Taiwan and Hong Kong, 2 from Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia, and Philippines, and have some 16 teams tournament to qualify to MSI Awards. For fuck's sake, they play 3 days of 6 best of ones a week. Time is not an issue, and you can have an easier time with the financial side of operations too. More representations from CEA teams, and not just LMS version 2, with teams constantly losing money, and especially players to China. I don't know if this is even possible. I don't know how or even if Riot will try to fix anything in the near future, but of course I really wish they do. I like PCS, I'm really appreciating the effort from teams and players, but now there's nothing we can say or do more. We just have to sit down, enjoy PCS. From my side, thank you very much for having watched this whole video.